going down. Either way you meet it, guaranteed to go down. Meet me in the. Meet me in the. Meet me in the. It's going down. Guaranteed to go down.
What's up, y'all? I'm Nate G219, and this is the Hell But Back Meta. Y'all know what it is. Another one coming at y'all. First, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that channel if you want to help out. Today is Black Friday, November 28th, about 9 o'clock in the morning. But you know, that means nothing. It means nothing whatsoever. I'm going to be talking about prison robberies and making yourself a target, standing up for yourself. And a couple of the experiences that I had witnessed. Me personally, I'd never been robbed in prison, gratefully, and nor was I ever tested. Nobody ever tried to rob me, nothing. But I've seen many robberies. Many robberies. And I've never seen a robbery done to somebody that will stand up for themselves. Sorry, guys. Allergies, up and down weather. Shit's been crazy. But when I was at Lakeside, Indiana State Prison outside facility, little camp, about 350 people there. There's only 3 dorms, so 110, 120 people in each dorm. Not a lot of places. Not a lot of people. But in the small place that it is, it goes down in there. And if you're a young white boy that has no affiliation and no heart whatsoever, you are a target. The first time you go get your $100 store, you're going to be robbed. There's no getting around it. People are going to run down on you and take your shit. I've seen it happen so many times, so many damn times, it's not even funny. So there was this little white boy. He claimed to be blood. Now there is a supposed blood set of white guys in Michigan City, Indiana, and they're supposed to be recognized by the official blood organization. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. They're the only bloods in the state of Indiana, except for those real bloods that have been locked up in Indiana that come from other states. There's no bloods in Indiana. Indiana's got Gangster Disciples, GD, Gangster Disciple Nation, and the People's Nation. Those are the 2 main. And yes, we do have MS-13s. We've got Aryan Brotherhood. We got all that. But GDs and Vice Lords are the main 2 gangs that you will find in Indiana, in any Indiana prison whatsoever. That's GDs and Vice Lords. They got the numbers, and GD's got the most numbers. There's, everywhere you look, a group of GDs is going to be there. I promise you that. But if the GDs are standing on the rules that they were taught and the laws that they were taught, they're not going to just rob anybody because a real GD does not believe on preying upon the weak. They don't. They just don't. The People's Nation, on the other hand, Vice Lords, Latin Kings, now I've seen them rob people, flex on people, just extort people, just do the most. And that's what happened to this young blood kid that claimed blood. And they called him country because he had one of the most country accents you'd ever heard. You would have thought he came from Louisiana or something. I mean, it was that damn southern of an accent. So young country walks in the dorm with, $75, $80 on his back. Goes to his little cubby. We were in an open dorm at this point in time. So there's bunk beds everywhere. There's 60 bunk beds. It's just 10 rows of bunk beds. And he lived in row 7, which I was in row 8. So row 7 and 8, there was a little walkway in between them. So he was like across from me, down 3 or 4 bunks. Well, he always had this big mouth. he was like a 22-year-old kid that talked like he was the hardest gangbanger, the hardest everything, the best fighter. Well, the one time I'd never seen him get store prior to this, and honestly, I didn't even see him after this. But he come in with got to be $75 worth of food, probably a couple bars of soaps and whatever. And the vice lords walked over there and told him, hand it over. He said, man, please don't do this to me. He didn't even say, I'm not going for this. None of that. Please don't do this to me. And then the man handed it over. The kid, country, handed them every item that he had. One of them, as they were walking away with country's food, took a soup out. Here you go. Have that. And that was that. Country went and told the police, and he went to protective custody. Never saw Country again. So that happened at IYC, Lakeside, up in Michigan City, Indiana. So now the last prison I was at, Plainfield, IYC. It's just outside of Indianapolis, right next to our RDC, our reception center, diagnostic center, where they go and give you all the tests and blood tests, blood work, and classify you. So the prison I went to was on the other side of the fence from that same prison Mike Tyson had found himself back in the 90s. And I'll tell you one thing, that place was not a joke, especially if you were a weak white boy. If you were a weak white boy from the age of 19 to or 18 to, it didn't matter. I saw 18-year-old kids get robbed. I saw 60-year-old men get robbed. I never saw a black man get robbed there. But one day, this dude, middle-aged white guy, he had to have been in his 50s. Not a small dude, but you could tell when he walked, he had some hip problems. He wasn't in the best of health. He had a bottom bunk pass. So you don't just get given a bottom bunk pass. But if you got one, it's because of health reasons. First thing, they weren't letting him get on the top bunk. But some of the GDs had worked something out, moved around, and the man went on the bottom bunk. He got the bottom bunk. There was no possibility he was getting on the top bunk anyways. And if he did get up there, if he was getting down, he'd have hit the ground, and it'd have been that. Dude was every bit of 350 pounds, maybe 5'6", 5'7". Not a very tall dude, but a very, very large man. Store day comes. Now, if I remember correctly, the limit was like $60 or something. I don't remember the exact limit of how much you could order, but there was a limit, and that man maxed his limit out on everything he could buy. He bought clothing, he bought hygiene, he bought food. I mean, he had a big old bag. He'd only been in the camp or in this dorm for about 2 weeks, maybe. So it was his first store. So he comes in with his food, and next thing you know, there's about 15 GDs, vice lords, it didn't matter what it was, surrounding him. Now, there was a couple gang members that followed codes, all GDs sitting on their bunks, shaking their heads, not in agreement with what was happening. But this one guy, Cash, his name was Cashmere. I don't remember his last name, but his real name was Cashmere. He was the loudest, most obnoxious, arrogant, one of the most arrogant people I've ever met in my entire life. Now, Cash was about 6'3", 6'4", maybe 240, 250, not a little guy, but loud as all hell. Loud, and he was very clearly a racist person. He talked down to every white person that spoke. He just felt he was better. And Cash led the crew of maybe 7, 8 guys. Most of them were GDs because Cash was a GD, but there was a couple Vice Lords in there too. They walked up to the white man, told the white man, "Give me everything you got." White man said, "No, I'm not giving you nothing. I'm not paying you rent. This is not going to go down like you think it's going to go down." And one of them reaches over, starts trying to pull the bag. It's a net bag. It's our laundry bag. That's what you get your commissary in. So it's a white bag that it's a net bag. You can see through it. You can see all the food and all the stuff that he's got in it. They're trying to pull it. He's pulling it back, and they're yanking back and forth. And there's 7 or 8 of them. The white man takes the first swing. He wasn't going down without a fight. And unfortunately, these gentlemen they beat the crap out of that white man. Every one of them was boot stomping him. I mean, it wasn't 1 or 2 swings and the man was on the ground. And then he was getting boot stomped for about 10 minutes. Guards come in, take the white man out. Cameras aren't working. He doesn't get any of his food back. He goes to protective custody because they make him go there. He didn't want to go there. He got up and was still trying to fight. But if you're not built like that and you go to prison, you're going to have a hard time. So you need to acquire friends. You need to acquire heart. You need to start working out, learn how to swing. But sometimes it doesn't matter how much heart you have. It doesn't matter what you do. Sometimes you're just that outnumbered. And because of where we were, first of all, it was about 90% black in there. 80 to 90% black easily. And most of everybody was great. Like my bunkie, Mickey, he was cool as hell. Now he had a drug problem, but he was still cool as hell. My boy T slept on the top bunk right next to me. Me and him sit there and bullshit with each other for hours. He was a little GD from Gary, but he'd moved down to Indianapolis. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this man was maybe 5'2", 100 pounds, maybe a little heftier than that because I mean we were eating state food, so he had a little gut on him. But one of the littlest. I mean, I wish I was a little bit taller. I mean, he looked like him. And I used to joke with him, but me and him would smoke cigarettes together. I loved bullshitting with T. T's bunkie, now he was an old white man, never had any problems either. Nobody was messing with old man Ted. Old man Ted was there for unaliving somebody. And he had been there for a very long time. He had that long sentence and he was getting ready to go out the door. But a majority of the time, it doesn't matter. If you're a white guy and you're not affiliated, you better start making motion. You need to meet the right people and start making moves with the people that make the money. And it doesn't matter. You just do a little business with them. Doing a little bit of business can have you protected more than you could ever imagine. Because if you owe a gang member $15, $20, he's not going to allow his other gang brothers to extort you. That's his money. He's not going to allow that. So if you're not built like that, you need to find some protection. And there's many ways to go about it. You don't necessarily have to pay for protection. But like I said, simply doing business with a select few gang members. Pick and choose too. Don't just do business with anybody. Excuse me. But yeah, this video is just to tell you how hard it is for certain white boys to go into prison. So if you are this young white boy out there thinking you're a hard ass, think again. Think again, because you go to prison, there's going to be a whole lot of guys to show you ain't shit. But never forget life's choices, guys. You never know where you're going to end up. You never know who you're going to meet. And you never know what experiences you're going to end up going through. But if you like today's story, hey, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that channel if you want to help out. Always remember, if they ain't hating it, you ain't making it. Peace.